Hi, I'm Goldie, and I'm 16 years old. I've always lived in a big way, bought everything I wanted, and never counted the money. Now imagine what it's like to lose everything in an instant. Watch the video to the end and find out how my parents sent me to live in a poor family. My father is a scriptwriter of entertainment shows. This is so cool. Besides, they pay a lot for it, and we live luxuriously. Apparently, he thinks it's too luxuriously. He says that he has spoiled me and that I'm too capricious. I don't agree. What's wrong with being used to a good life? I can have fun and not save money for my whims. I didn't think that one day his claims would have consequences, but it was a mistake. One day, a friend of Dad's got a new project. They started a reality show in which rich children were sent to live for 2 weeks in poor families. It's fun to watch someone being taught a lesson, right? But I wasn't amused when my father told me that he had made a deal with his friend of his and that I, too, would have to be humiliated for the public's amusement. Of course, they promised to pay for participation in the show and a lot of money. But I know how it works. In the end, they give you money and you have to decide whether to keep it or give it to a poor family. As if someone would choose the first, especially in front of everyone. Would you be able to show yourself a bad person under the camera scope? I doubt. Tell us in the comments. In short, my father realized I was not easily fooled and promised that we would go to a luxury spa hotel at the end of the show. I was taken to a remote town and left with the Dickinson family. I wanted to run away as soon as I entered their house. No spa was worth it. It's a shame to think so, but it was disgusting. I even disdained to sit at the table and tried to stay away from everyone so as to not say anything rude. We were being filmed. Senior Dickinson immediately left me alone, but their daughter, Lucy, just stuck to me. She kept wanting to chat, but what would I say? That I hated my life and this place? The daily routine was strict. They got up so early and started digging in the garden, and they made me. Do you know how wet the ground feels? I didn't know, and I'd rather not. Breakfast was prepared in turn because they worked shifts in the shop and Lucy also worked part-time somewhere. After a couple of days, all the cooking was on me. At least I was not forced to look for a job. It was maddening, but I tried to hold on, reminding myself that I was visiting, and there were cameras everywhere. I thought I was coping, but on the 4th day, I got hysterical. I sobbed that I couldn't get enough sleep, that I was itching from their sheets and soap, that I wanted to go home and I couldn't do it anymore. Lucy and her mother barely calmed me down. It was so embarrassing. The next day, I was given an extra 2 hours sleep and pancakes were served for breakfast. I didn't think that I loved them so much, how delicious they were. After that, we started talking. I didn't understand how it happened that the whole family worked hard without rest, and pancakes for them, a rare food. Dickinsons explained that their wages were often held up. But if you don't get paid, you don't need to file a complaint. Why don't workers go on strike? They just laughed. If you go on strike, you'll be fired. What will you eat when you look for a new job? We argued for several days, but they still agreed and filed a collective complaint with a couple of their colleagues. In the end, they were actually fired. It was a shock to me. I tried to apologize, but they said they made their own decision. Lucy said her parents were probably just tired of the injustice, and that they would cope if they started saving money. Saving money? As if they hadn't saved it before? Most of all, she was upset that the trip to the sea was canceled. I tried to cheer her up. After all, a weekend in another city was not so expensive. She just looked at me and I shut up. I asked her father why they didn't take out a loan. They still needed the money, and if they took a little more, they could go to the sea and look for a job longer and not accept a bad one. He said he was going to the bank with me, but he didn't think he would get a loan. He was right. With their debts, the bank wasn't going to approve anything. And at the same time, it notified him that a little more and they could withdraw the house. I just didn't know how to help them. Yes, after the show, they would get my prize, but it was so small. And then it hit me. The show! Television! In short, a scandal broke out and the plant paid compensation to all employees. So I wasn't the only one who learned my lesson. Subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss new interesting stories.